Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you today on this wonderful day, and thank you for attending today's service. We will begin this morning's service with a fruit and floral offering by the 4th through 8th grade class. Thank you, Juliana and Kobe, for the presentation. You know, this is the month that we commemorate the birth of the Buddha with Hanamatsuri, which we held last Sunday. So, very joyous occasion of remembering Shakyamuni Buddha with his birth. And with it, you know, last night we had a little bit of rain, which was very, very nice. And today we have very sunny blue skies, so spring is definitely here. Okay, we will now have a silent meditation, and that will be led by Laverne Sensei, and then she will present the Shotsuki names for the memorial for the month of April.
As the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth, the seeds that lie dormant in the soil, may the light of wisdom shine into our minds and truly awaken us to our ignorance, and by this insight, stir us to strive for a life of deeper understanding and enlightenment. Please join me in Nembutsu Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. I will now read the April Shotsuki monthly memorial list, and families of those names that I call, you're welcome to come up and do oshoko. Toyosaburo Yanagihara family. Saburo Sugiyama family. Seihachi Tsurudome family. Shizuko Kasubuchi, Naoya Kasubuchi. Masaichi Kuroda, Toshio Kuroda. Yoshitaro Matsumoto, Eiji Matsumoto. Yukichi Okuma family. Yoichiro Torio, Betty Torio. Hiromi Moribe, Lee Moribe. Mansaku Shinohara family. Yoshiko Haseyama family. Saburo Oyama family. George Kozuma, Tomiko Kozuma. Shinzaemon Fuji, Katsumi Kida. Shizuyo Izumo, Yanagihara family. Ume Inoue family. Iwaguma Tsuneyoshi family. Buheiji Tanaka, Tsurudome family. Hajime Kyutoku, Tsurudome family. Ryohei Tsujimura, Roy Tsujimura. Kuzo Sugiyama family. Magoichi Hamano, Toru Hamano. Isao Imaizumi family. Kazumi Sugioka family. George Yukio Kodama, Vivian Jones. Chio Yamagata, Harold Yamagata. Mike Hagio, Kimiko Hagio. Frank Tachiki, Les Tachiki. Terry T. Doi, Patrick Doi. Mine Takeshita family. Zenbei Iwashita family. Benso Tsuji, Laura Katsue Tsuji. Setsugo Taniguchi, Wilbur Takashima. Yoshiko Sueyoshi family. Shizuko Yanagihara family. Ai Yamada, Keisuke Yamada. James Kasubuchi, Naoya Kasubuchi. Muneo Torimaru, Riki Torimaru. Hazel Ito family. Shigenori Tsurudome family. Taro Matsui family. Kenshi Tachiki, Louis Tachiki. Haruko Muraoka, Takenori Muraoka. Yoshiko Takashima, Wilbur Takashima. Shinichi Okuyama, Mei Kawaguchi. Kosaburo Ochi, Emi Ochi. Toshio Hayakawa, Emiko Hayakawa. Yoshiko Miyazaki, Madoko M. Miyazaki. Armando Leal, Rubio family. Kaneko Hodek, John Hodek. Kikuo Ueji, Chieko Takeguchi. Katie Magotsugu Ueji, Masako Ueji. Hidetoshi Akiyama, Terry Akiyama. Masao Santo Higashi, Kiku Graber. Judy Shigeko Shinohara, Janice Shinohara. Shimako Uda, Georgiana Uda. Setsuko Himaka, Lin Fujigami. Earl Isoki Osaki, Gail Furuya. Robert C. McDonald, Bruce McDonald. Kazuo Kiyono, Norman Kiyono. James Noboru Nakashima, Tomoe Nakashima. George Tachiki, Miyako Tachiki. Hiro Tsurudome, Joanne Tsurudome Garcia. Mildred Pocock family. Kimiko Kitano, Margie Kitano. Helen Kikuko Takashima family. Joyce Terao family. Alice Asako Morinaka family. Yoshiko Honda family. And if there are others who have loved ones who passed away in the month of April, but their names were not read, please feel free to come up and burn incense and do gasho, oshoko. And for those of you that are new to Jodo Shinshu Buddhism and Buddhism in general, these memorial services are held monthly, typically on the first Sunday of each month, and it allows us to pay homage to loved ones who have passed away and to whom our lives were made possible.
We will now have the chanting of the sutra, Jusei, Jusei on page 35 of the service book.
Gagon Josei Gang Hishimu Jodo Shigan Humanzok Seifu Joshogak Gao Muryoko Hui Dai Seshu Husai Shobingu Seifu Joshogak Gashi Jobundo Myosho Chojipo Kukyomi Shomon Seifu Joshogak Ryokujin Shonen Joe Shubongyo Shigumu Jodo Isho Tennishi Jinriki Endaiko Husho Musaido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaihichi Egen Meshi Konmo An Heisoku Sho Akudo Tsudaten Zen Shumon Koso Jo Manzok Iyoro Jippo Nichigaten Shujuki Tenko Ompugen Ishu Kai Hozo Koseku Dokuho Jo Dai Shuchu Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Butsu Gusoku Shutoku Hong Ganne Shinjo Man Toku Isangai O Nyo buten mugechi, tsudaten mi husho, gangaku erik, toshi sai shosong, shiganyako ka, daisen o kando, koku shoten ning, touchi myoke, namandabu, 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 ganni shikudoku, byodo seisai, dohon bodaishin, ojo andako. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for the recitation of our pledge? It's the insert found in the service book. Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I shall share a warm smile and speak grateful words, just like the kind Buddha.
Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all.
Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we will have a message for the Dharma School students given by Sharon Sasaki.
Please join me in Gasho. Living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and that allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you doing today? So to start, I have to mention the special and rare occasion this past Monday, April 8th. Yes, it was Hanamatsuri, Buddha's birthday, but our country also got to experience a total solar eclipse, yes. So I was fortunate to experience the total eclipse in Texas, which was incredible. So did you go outside to experience the change in sunlight or look at the sun with eclipse glasses? Who did that? Nice, good. Hope you enjoyed the experience. So the title of my talk today, hold on, let me see if I can you see the screen? Okay, I'm excited. Thank you, Brevin, for setting this up. The title of my talk is Doing Thank You. And does anyone know who this is on the screen? Anybody? Yes. So yes, it's Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And I'd like to share with you this book written by Justice Sotomayor entitled Just Help: How to Build a Better World. Oh, sorry. So in this book, Justice Sotomayor shows that sorry, I'm going to read the book first. Okay, here we go. Each day when Sonia woke up, her mother asked her a question. How will you help today? Mommy was a nurse who helped people at a hospital every day. Sonia wanted to help too. So each morning, Sonia set about to have a good answer for Mommy's question. One morning, Sonia knew just how she was going to help that day. She filled 2 shopping bags with candy bars, warm socks, nice soaps, sunglasses, pens, and notepads. When Sonia boarded the school bus, the driver helped her carry her bags up the steps. What's all this? She asked Sonia. We're sending care packages to American soldiers overseas, Sonia said. When Sonia got on the bus, not one seat was free. She did not know what to do. Then Booker and Sky waved to her. You can sit with us, they said, squeezing together to make room for Sonia. Thank you, Sonia said. At school, Booker, Sky, and Sonia emptied their bags onto a table in the gym. Many kids had shown up to help. For the service project, the kids sorted and packed the treats in boxes that postal workers would pick up later in the day. Kylie was extra happy to help. Her mom was a soldier in the army, stationed far away. Kylie missed her every day, but it made her smile to think of her mom opening one of the care packages. When she was done, Kylie gathered up plastic shopping bags and gave them to Brooklyn. Brooklyn loved underwater animals. She was upset to learn that plastic bags humans dumped into the oceans made sea turtles sick. When she read about a worldwide campaign to save the sea turtles, Brooklyn joined in to help. She started a recycling program at school just for plastic bags. After the service project in the gym, she had a lot more bags to add to the new recycling bins. After school, Gabriella and her brother Lucas went to the playground. There was trash everywhere. Gabriella thought about the recycling bins. Let's make today a park cleanup day, Gabriella suggested to the other kids. They all agreed to help. Afterward, Lucas took a piece of chalk and wrote in big letters on the ground, "Keep our park clean. Please do not litter." When Jasper got home, he saw that his room was a mess, just like the park had been. As he cleaned up, he found brand new toys that he had never used. Jasper decided to donate them to the Children's Hospital. Jasper remembered that when he was a patient there, he always felt better when the nurses brought him to the playroom. He wanted to help kids who are there now. He brought the new toys next door to Maya because her dad worked as a janitor at the hospital, and he could take the toys to the playroom. Jasper's kindness reminded Maya that she had something special to give away too. She picked out her favorite shirt from her clothes drawer. Maya loved it, but she knew someone who would love it more, especially today, her friend Simone. Simone stood on the street corner with her dad and her brother Miles. It was election day, and they were campaigning for their favorite candidate for city council, who promised to build more schools and playgrounds. When Maya gave Simone the shirt, Simone was thrilled. "It's just like a sparkly American flag. Thank you," Simone said, and put it on over the shirt she was already wearing. Simone and Miles were handing out flyers to everyone who passed by, including Samir and his mom. "Mommy, it's election day. Did you vote yet?" Samir asked. "No, I forgot," his mom said. "Well, let's go vote," Samir said. "My teacher said your vote is your voice in the community." Samir wanted his mom to use it. The voting booths were set up in the senior center. As Samir and his mom waited to vote, they saw Kunal pushing John in a wheelchair. Kunal was there to help John vote. John lived alone, and twice a week, Kunal spent the afternoon at the senior center, visiting John and sharing snacks. "Promise me when you're 18 you will vote," John said as he stuck his I voted sticker on Kunal's shirt. "When I was young, I was part of a great struggle to get the right to vote. Now I never miss the chance." "I promise," Kunal said. Later that evening, Sonia climbed into bed and her mother asked her, "Sonia, how did you help today?" Sonia thought about the service project for the soldiers, recycling the plastic bags, cleaning up the playground, and voting with Mommy. But she also remembered the bus driver who brought her to school safely, the postal workers who delivered the packages to the soldiers, the poll workers who guided voters, and her friends who helped in big ways and small. "We all helped each other today," Sonia said. As Sonia closed her eyes, she imagined that everything she did was like the yarn in the blanket her grandmother had made for her. It tied Sonia to everyone around her, even people she did not know, each one inspiring the next, knitting together a community that was safer, cleaner, wiser, healthier, and kinder. Like Sonia, her friends, and her neighbors, when we all do our part, we all can have a good answer to Mommy's question. How will you help today? So in this book, Justice Sotomayor shows that doing something every day to help others is how to build a better world. How does she suggest that we just help? Let's review. Offer a smile and a seat. In the story, Booker and Sky squeeze together to offer Sonia a seat on the bus. Does anyone remember our Dharma School theme this year? Yes, thank you, Jaden. Compassion. Do you think this is compassion? Yes, I'd call this compassion in action. Reuse bags. Reusing bags instead of using disposable plastic bags helps to reduce pollution and protect life on our planet. This is our dog Mimi with our Eco Sangha bag. Help to pick up trash. You can help by picking up trash in your neighborhood or your home, whether it's your trash or someone else's. Volunteer. You can volunteer at home, like setting the table for your family, or here at the temple, like with Mochitsuki. Many of you helped last weekend with the Hanamatsuri celebration for Buddha's birthday, and building the Hanamido, or helping at the bingo and tostada lunch. And Andrea Covarrubias and Cassidy Muraoka received the Padma and Sangha Scouting Awards and shared wonderful Dharma messages. Thank you and congratulations to Andrea and Cassidy. Finally, you can help by giving, like Sonia and Jasper did in the story. Last month, the pre-K to third grade class donated games and activities for Ronald McDonald House in their Little Kids Can Do Big Things program. So another congratulations and thank you to the pre-K to third grade class. So when you start with a simple question, how will you help today? The spirit spreads to others and grows. And together, we build a better home, community, and world. This is my kind of spiral that Kenji Sensei used to talk about when he talked about going from me to we, and it just keeps growing. Another question you might ask is, why do you help? In our school of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu, we don't help others for credit or to gain merit toward attaining enlightenment. We help and we say Namo Amida Butsu to express thanks for what we've already received, which are the gift of life and the compassion of Amida Buddha. It's actually a gift to be able to help. Not everyone can. That's why I entitled this talk, Doing Thank You. We should remember to say thank you whenever we can, and when we help others, we're doing thank you. Then at some point in our lives, we won't be able to physically help, but we can still say, feel, or hear Namo Amida Butsu. This is how, at any age or life situation, we live the Nembutsu. In closing, please join me again in Gasho. Living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for your very gentle story on helping, something that we can all do, even a little bit, every day of our lives. Will everyone please stand for the Gatha with grateful heart? It could be found on page 151 of the service book. Thank you. You may be seated. Are there any announcements at this time?
On behalf of pre-K through third grade class, we would like to say thank you to those who supported our annual Little Kids Who Can Do Big Things donation drive for the Ronald McDonald House this year. Throughout the month of March, we accepted board games, coloring boards, coloring books, crayons, markers, word search puzzles, and crossword puzzles. This is a project our class looks forward to every March as it brings a light in those in need.
Good morning. I'm short, but anyway, I'll keep it down. Just what you always wanted, your bazaar tickets, raffle, opportunity drawing, I mean. So if you haven't received them yet, we have them in the back in the box. So they're by alphabetical order and by last name. But if you need some and you don't have any, we have plenty. So just let me know and I will set you up. So, and that will be in June 2nd is the bazaar. So hopefully you marked out your calendar. So I'd like to see everyone there. Thank you.
So for my Cub Scout fundraisers, I will be selling first aid kits, one for car and one for home, in the office. And each first aid kit is $10. So if you want one, just come meet me in the office.
thank you, Benjamin and Flynn and Luann for your announcements. I have a couple. Thank you to everybody for supporting the Tostada Bingo fundraiser last Sunday. I hope everyone had a good time and enjoyed the delicious tostadas. It was very good. So the proceeds from the event will support the Lahaina Honganji Relief Fund efforts in their as they rebuild their temple in Hawaii. Also, at the end of the month, the temple the Japanese Coordinating Council will host the annual Kato Kai Luncheon, the Pioneer Luncheon for those, 80 years and over. Many of our Sangha members who are that age and above have received a letter of invitation. The temple is also selling some tickets to attend the luncheon. If you would like to attend, the donation is $25, and they're available downstairs in the office. Okay. At this time, the Dharma School is excused to their classes, but before you go, please come up to Oshoko, burn incense. Thank you. Okay, we will now continue with the adult portion of the service, and we'll lead with a recitation of the Bandhana Tisarana on page 96.
Please turn to page 96 and join me from the very beginning. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I the Sangha for guidance. Namo Butsu. Namo Ho. Namo So. Please join me in Nambutsu Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
And now Laverne Sensei will share her Dharma message.
All the children left and half the Hondo left. But I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a wonderful thing because the children are the future of this temple. So it's wonderful that we have such an active Dharma school. Thank you for coming today and joining us in the Shotsuki service. And please join me in Gassho as I read these words from Gomonshu-sama Kojun Otani. He is the current resident head priest of Nishihon Ganji. In this world, nothing is fixed and unchanging, contrary to what we might normally think. Without regard to how we may wish things to be, the world is undergoing constant change. And as Shakyamuni clarifies, suffering involves anything that does not go our way. This undeniable truth causes suffering because of our inclination to want things to remain unchanged. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 There were several things these past few weeks that caused me to think about changes that were happening to me and others. And it's interesting because as I was leading the Vandana and Tisarana, how we chant it here in San Diego is different than how I learned to chant it in both Seattle, at the temple in Seattle, and at a Koji Buddhist temple. And so I had to adjust, and so things do change. Even in something like very old and traditional, like Jodo Shinshu ritual, there are changes. So as I was saying, there were several things that occurred that caused me to think about changes. And one example that I have shared with you in previous time is about the changes that are happening to my friend who's experiencing a autoimmune disease in which her muscles are deteriorating. She was diagnosed about 3 or 4 years ago with this condition, and it's rare, and there is no cure for this condition. So it's only progressively going to get worse. She lives some distance away from me, but I do try to visit her about maybe every other month, every third month or so. And having gone, I went during the holidays, and then I went again last month. And what I've noticed is that her condition is progressively worsening. And that progression seems to have become more rapid in the past 6 months. So it's been very difficult for me watching her lose her ability to walk without the aid of a walker and increasingly having to use her wheelchair. And it's been difficult to watch her have to receive her nourishment by a feeding tube because the muscles in her jaws have weakened so that it really takes a lot of energy on her part to chew and ingest food the way we normally would ingest it. And it's difficult to watch as she's less and less able to do things that we all take for granted, like showering, like changing our clothes, and so many things. And without realizing it until very recently, maybe this past week even, after I returned from my last visit with her, I've been really sad, and I've been a bit depressed seeing her in this condition. because before she was struck with this disease, and actually maybe even started really progressing last year, she was a very vibrant, she was a positive and healthy person. She's a friend I've known since the 7th grade. She was my college roommate, and she was there for me through both many happy times and also sad times. She really is more than a friend. She's almost like a sister to me. Well, so as it turns out, this past week, I had picked up this book, and I don't know about you guys, but I buy books, I set them aside, and I think, okay, I want to read this book, right? And Lorena's smiling, because I'm sure she's got a stack of books. But this is a book, I think we have this in our shop. But it's a very small book. I read it in a half an hour, maybe less. And it's written by Gomonshu, Kojun Otani. He's the 25th Gomonshu of our tradition, Jodo Shinshu. And he is a person many of you know. He lived here with his wife in San Diego for about a year. This book is entitled Moving Forward Just As You Are, Living in These Uncertain Times. And I came upon the passage that I opened with, and I'm going to read this again. In this world, nothing is fixed and unchanging, contrary to what we might normally think or wish. Without regard to how we may wish things to be, the world is undergoing constant change. And as Shakyamuni clarifies, and I want to emphasize this part, suffering involves anything that does not go our way. This undeniable truth causes suffering because of our inclination to want things to remain unchanged. In other words, our attachments, right? And as I read Gomonshu's words, it dawned on me that as I was feeling sad, as I was feeling depressed, I was fixated on my own discomfort, my own suffering, because my life and the life of others around me, dear people around me, were not going the way I wanted them to go. But in fact, we all know, every one of us in this room knows, that we and the world we live in are always changing, right? Parents, the child that is now taller than you, who thinks they are smarter than you, is evidence that their bodies and their minds have changed since you first cradled them in your arms as an infant. Children, we are all children of someone. We've watched our parents, some now in their 80s and 90s, change, becoming less independent as their bodies become more fragile. And even at this very moment, think about this, each one of us is changing. Not just our bodies, but also our minds are changing. You know, speaking of minds changing, so my memory was never great. I was never one of those kids who easily memorized things like the Lincoln speech, right? I really had a hard time memorizing that. But I'm finding that increasingly, I'm forgetting a whole lot more. Names especially. And so many of you know I've introduced myself, you've introduced yourself to me, and I will say to you, please don't be offended if I have to ask you your name again, because I might not remember. I might maybe have known you since I've been here 6 or 7 years ago, and in that moment, maybe I might forget your name, so please forgive me, but my body is changing, my mind is changing. So how do we each deal with this discomfort of knowing that our children are growing up and eventually leaving home? How do we deal with the discomfort of watching our parents grow older and needing our help more? How do we deal with the idea that we also are aging and will eventually become less dependent and eventually die? As I look out at this Sangha, I realize that many of you have experienced the pain of losing a child, losing a spouse, a parent, and a friend. Or maybe you have suffered loss in a different way. Perhaps you've lost a job, or perhaps you're ending a relationship. But I marvel perhaps at the strength that pulled each one of us through the darkest of times in our individual lives. And the source of that strength, I think, is varied, depending on the causes and conditions that contributed to the person that you are today, sitting here in this Hondo today. For me, the passages in Gomonshu's book reminded me that one reason for me being here today, and indeed the source of my strength, are in fact the three treasures: the Buddha, the teacher, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha, the community that is all of you. So I'd like to, in my laziness, I'd like to share another passage from Gomonshu's book. And this book is really easy to read. It's got big letters in it, so I would really encourage you to read this book. I don't know if it's online or not, but it's an easy read, and it reinforced for me Gomonshu's, I think, his aspiration to bring the Dharma to all of us, to this new world of America, in a way that is understandable to us within the context of our language, within the context of our culture. Again, it's very easy to read, and he states that in his introduction and both in his closing. That's his goal, is to make the Dharma accessible and understandable to everyone. So again, I'm not getting any kind of kickbacks or anything from selling this book, but I do think it's an excellent book. So let me share this other passage. When faced with what seem to be insurmountable personal problems, we can overcome these ordeals by remembering that we are not alone. We are not alone. I believe the reason why we are able to cope with our anxieties and sorrows is because we are not alone. We are able to live by supporting one another through our connections with each other. I myself, and this is the Gomonshu speaking, have special bonds with those around me. That is why I always feel that we should not ever leave alone those who are left in solitude. In Japan, people often used to say, "Okage-sama de," thanks to everyone and everything, or "Otogai-sama, we are in this together." When something good would happen to a person, they would say, "Okage-sama de," not forgetting to give appreciation to the other person. When something bad should happen, people would say to each other, "Otagai-sama," in order to express solidarity and identifying with each other's struggles. These people understood the idea that being on my own, I am not a complete person. I'd like to repeat that. Being on my own, I am not a complete person. That without the support of each other, we can't live. That is precisely why these words naturally come about. Or came about, sorry. So, thinking about those words, as a Sangha sitting here today together, we are a reflection of families. We're a reflection of the organizations that we work within, and we're a reflection of the community and the world in which we live. We're individuals doing our best, both individually and collectively. As everywhere in all communities, we get along with some and not with others. We deal with change and impermanence differently, each of us. But ultimately, what I hope is that the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, the teachings of Shinran-sama, These teachings from Gomonshu-sama and our other teachers provide us, all of us, as it has with me, with a source of strength to deal with change, to deal with challenges of those change. And as we listen to the Dharma and as we become infused with the teachings, as we listen to the words of our teachers, such as the Gomonshu-sama, we hopefully become more aware of these very important principles of Buddhism, and those are the principles of impermanence and interdependence, that there's nothing in this universe that does not change, and that all things are a result of causes and conditions that interact with each other. Please join me in Gassho. When faced with what seem to be insurmountable personal problems, we can overcome these ordeals by remembering that we are not alone. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.
Thank you very much, Laverne Sensei, for your very meaningful message today and reminding us that our lives are constantly part of the challenges of causes and conditions that we face in our daily lives. So thank you for the reminder and sharing excerpts from Gomonshu's book. Will everyone please rise for the Gatha Ondok-san on page 128. Thank you. You may be seated. We will have a closing meditation and gassho. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine with our hearts and mind that the mists of error and the foolish vanity of self be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and reach spiritual peace. Gassho, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Well, this concludes our English adult portion of the service today. For those of you who like to stay for the Japanese message, Laverne Sensei will share her message for the Japanese speaking group. But I'd like to thank Laverne Sensei for officiating today's service. Excuse me, and to Sharon Sasaki for sharing her Dharma message for the Dharma School, and to Arturo Rubio for ringing the concho, and then to Ann Ong for playing the organ, and our tech team of Ken Mudoka and Brevin for live streaming the service, and for Katie for her assistance also, and to all of you for attending today's service. So this concludes the service, and you may join everyone for hospitality downstairs in the dining room. And again, for those who would like to stay for the Japanese Dharma message, you're welcome to do so. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Do my best.
What's that?
I'm gonna do my best. I didn't know, I was so late. I didn't get Noriko or Yukari to proof it for me. Yeah, so like we'll see. I hope I don't offend anybody. My 1 hour visit turned into, like 6 hours there. 5 or 6. I got there, well, yeah, because I think I got there like at 11.
So 今朝の英語のメッセージは変化と変化のチャレンジにどのように対処するかについてのものでした。今日の私たち全員のことを考えながら、私はあなたの人生のストーリーを知らないことに気づきました。しかし、私はあなたのことを知りませんが、おそらくあなたが人生で経験したであろうチャレンジを想像することはできるでしょうかね。Does that make sense? まず第一に、皆さんは自分の家族を日本に残してアメリカに来ました。文化の違う、言葉も違う。このアメリカの国に来ました。多分、夫から内なる強さをもらいましたと思います。それから友人、友達、友人からその強さをもらったと思います。一人で家族を養わなければならなかった私たちはどこから生き残る力をもらいましたかね。So I'm going to explain in English a little bit, if I may. So I think there are many in our Sangha, who came and who maybe not like myself because I knew English and I was born in Hawaii speaking English. And so I was familiar with this culture. But very early on, when my daughter was 15 months old, my husband and I separated. And so I was left to raise my daughter. I only had one child, so that was maybe good fortune for me. But it was not something that I planned for. And so sometimes I look back and I think, どこからその力, where did that 力 come from? Someplace, né? So I wish I knew everybody in the Sangha, better, because I think that we have all suffered in our ways. little bit, right? And we have all made it through, hopefully with our families, hopefully with our friends, and hopefully by coming to temple and hearing the Dharma. Gomonshu Kojun Otani ga kono kotoba o kakimashita. So I'm going to read, I don't know if this is the exact translation, but I'm going to ask maybe if Noriko-san or Yukari-san can get this book for me in Japanese. It was written in 2017 by Gomonshu. And he's relatively young. He's in his 40s, but he became Gomonshu in 2016, June of 2016. In November of 2016, me, along with several other people from BCA, we were ordained. And so I think we were his first overseas group that received Tokudo from Gomonshu-sama. And he spoke to us in Nihongo, but he also spoke to us in English, which was very, very, I think maybe first time for ordination ceremony. So it was very special for us. So I have never met Gomonshu-sama, just maybe the one time, but not even, shake hands or anything when he came here. But I have never personally met him, but I have a deep respect for him because I think he is trying to lead the Nishihon Ganji, not just in Japan, but America, Canada, Hawaii, Brazil. I think he's trying to make the Shinran Shonin's messages understandable to everybody, regardless of the culture. And I think that's very difficult. And I think that it's going to maybe result in changes because he recently reissued the Ryogemon, which we have to recite at when we get ordination. And he reissued it. And he also reissued the English translation, but the English translation is different than the Japanese translation. And so I think that it's interesting to me that that they're different. It's not word for word translation of the Japanese. And so as a MA group, we studied the Ryogemon in English, compared it to the previous translation. And then Yukari-san is going to lead us in the study of the new Ryogemon in Nihongo, and so that we understand what the differences are. So gomenasai, I have to use my English, but okay, so I'm going to try to read this in Japanese. 乗り越えられない個人的な問題に直面したとき、私たちは一人ではないことを思い出すことで、その試練を乗り越えることができます。私たちが不安や悲しみと向き合えるのは一人ではないからだと思います。私たちは人と人のつながりの中で支え合いながら生きていくことができます。私自身、周りの人々と特別な絆を持っています。だからこそ、孤独に取り残されている人たちを決して放っておいてはいけないと常々慕っています。日本ではおかげさまで皆さんのおかげですとか、お疲れ様一緒にいますねとよく言われていました。人に何か良いことがあったとき、その人は忘れずにおかげさまでと言いました。相手に感謝の気持ちを伝えること、何は悪いことが起こったとき、人々はお互いの戦いに共感し、連帯を表現するために、お疲れ様と言いました。 これらの人々は自分だけでは完全な人間ではないということ、お互いのサポートがなければ生きていけないという考えを理解していました。だからこそ自然とこの言葉が出てきたのです。そう、ですから、この不確実な時代はありますが、お互いに支え合いながら生きていきましょう。これではメッセージは終わりです。一緒に合唱しましょう。ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏。そう。
すごい、ありがとうございました。はい、全部
こそ
わかりました。
Okay. Next time I will be better prepared.
You did very well today.
I'm watching a lot of Japanese shows so that, I can hear the Japanese so I can understand it. It's just 喋るのがちょっと。
ローマ字で書いてあるのに無理読むの。
は
I think it's very enough. What we could able to speak.
I mean, the words that you use?
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's very hard.
It is?
Yeah, very nice.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not easy to come up with all these words that you use. I was surprised.
I'm going to try. I'm going to benkyo. I'm going to study harder because with Yukari-san and Noriko Sensei's help, I want to be able to understand more and communicate better. It's just, it's very difficult. And I studied Japanese. That was my major in college, believe it or not. But that was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was reading the newspaper from Japan, and we used to have to read to the sensei, but if you don't use it, you forget everything. You forget everything. Yeah. So, onegaishimasu. I will look to you for your support and your help. So, I will keep trying.
Yes. I'm not told.
Short. It was short. It was nothing like, I miss Aoyama Sensei. I miss Aoyama Sensei. Maybe next time I will learn to play the harmonica. Yeah, I really miss him. So.
Yes, I think we all miss him.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, but thank you for staying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
はい、meeting, BWB1 meeting でしょ。
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
ありがとう、本当にありがとうございま
こち
した。
らこそありがとうございました。So, Mrs. Aoyama, お願いします。
ダメですよ。
Yes, go get some hospitality. Oh, you didn't record that, did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you didn't. Oh no.